Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth? I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away. Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Don't you worry yourself, your grace. We'll get her done in no time.
Hey? Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
Pissing in the moat? Oh, you're dead.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away. Bigger they are, easier they are to target. Thing about slings, they hide well. Black lads were supposed to grind their teeth against our walls. Black lads were supposed to grind their teeth against our walls. Bloody empty promise by our leaders. Commander, onward to Abbey. Bloody idiots.
There a place for me in your ranks, Your Majesty? I'd so like to serve you. I do so with loyalty deserving of my own king.
A taxidermied unicorn. Strange. What are your orders, Your Grace? Shall we take it?
I've no notion what one could possibly do with such a thing. We ride on.
Meave's Lyrians were traversing a wood when they heard the loud, drawn-out blast of a horn.
One of our scouts?
The Queen asked, clearly perplexed. She turned in her saddle to face Reynard, who shook his head.
Strange. Gascon, appoint a few of your strays. Ones who know how to blend in. Have them sniff out who blows that horn. And why.
The scouts returned a short while later with their report. Soldiers had pitched camp in a nearby meadow. They wore Edirnian uniforms, cut by sashes bearing a golden sun. They addressed their leader as Fulberson.
Know the name?
Rayla said.
Fulberson went over to the enemy first day of the war, took his whole division with him. Your Grace, a chance like this won't come again. Let's teach the traitors a lesson.
We must send a strong signal. One all the North will hear. From the Yaruga to the Dragon Mountains.
Announced the Queen.
Whoever collaborates with the invader shall pay with his head. Prepare to attack.
Rayla nodded, clearly pleased. The Lyrians surrounded the meadow marked by their scouts. Moments later, a flaming arrow pierced the sky, giving the signal to attack.
Is that Queen Meave? To arms!
New orders? No?
Wait, you're serious?
Must be an important lesson in this. But what?
Go, hop, hop!
Hundred and 102, 103.
This man has suffered much.
Watch your heads!
It's not too late to walk away.
In retreat!
Mercy, your grace. We surrender.
The traitors, perhaps used to fighting unsuspecting foes, stood no chance against the determined Lyrian attack. At its conclusion, Meve personally knocked Fulberson off his mount, then tore off his visor. The face she saw evoked more sympathy than hatred. Fulberson was an old, sickly man, his skin pale and blemished. With great difficulty, he pulled himself up on his knees, then extended a shaky hand in pleading.
Your grace, have mercy. The Nilfgaardians forced me to treason. They threatened torture.
Meve felt her soldiers' eyes on her. They awaited her decision. How would she treat this traitor? Would she really execute him as a warning to others?
I hereby dissolve your division, Falberson. And you, surrender your sword and be on your way.
The traitor threw himself at the Queen's feet.
You've shown mercy befitting a truly great ruler, your grace. 1,000 thanks. To the west of here lie my lands. Visit me. I shall throw a sumptuous feast in your honor and provide a generous donation to your fight against our common foe.
Meve ordered Fulberson to stand. Her Lyrians reluctantly stepped out of the departing traitor's way. When he passed Black Rayla, she spat at his feet. As Meve passed the city of Harmelin, one of the peasants she'd saved from Nilfgaardian captivity requested an audience.
Be taking leave of you here, milady. Folk from our parts lives in Harmelin. We'll manage. But, milady, we thank you for taking pity on us, time and again. We've nothing, milady, or nears enough. Black-clad bastards took all's worth taking. Except in this amulet. Been in my family for ages, kept us from harm. May it do the same for you.
Meve wanted to say she did not believe in peasant superstitions, but when she took the ivory pendant in hand, she felt a curious warmth from it. The peasant bowed, then joined the others as they trod off towards Harmelin.
We're safe behind these walls. At least for now we are. You've twice shown us mercy, Millie. Melitele bless you twice over just the same. This pendant, Your Majesty. Wear it round your neck, always. It'll keep evil from you. We're safe behind these walls.
The Lyrians stood within 5 miles of Aldersburg, when the road, which until now they had travelled alone, suddenly filled with all manner of folk. Peasants, merchants, and wounded fighters in tattered uniforms. They trod solemnly in the opposite direction, their worldly possessions on their backs.
Aldersburg's fallen, milady.
Sighed one of the refugees with a forlorn shrug.
Outer walls breached. King still defends the old town, but black-clad goats are winning. You'd best turn back before it's too late.
We've nowhere to turn to, good man.
The Queen said, then spurred on her horse.
Follow me!
The Queen galloped so fast the wind squeezed tears from her eyes, the Lyrian cavalry close at her heels. Hoofbeats thundered down the high road, and the crowd of refugees parted, making a path for the charging riders.
Faster! Faster!
Soon they set eye on Aldersburg. A red glow filled the horizon. The wind carried screams and the clanking of steel. The once proud city was quickly turning to dust in the Nilfgaardian sun. The Nilfgaardian force moved to block the Lyrians' way. Without slowing, Meve cut down the infantryman who tried to drag her from her saddle with a hook. Her head in a winged helmet fell to the ground, leaving a bloody track.
Lyrians! Attack!
Meve shouted.
Take no prisoners! Bloody hell! You shan't stop me. Not now!
Yes? Life is mine now.
Watch your heads!
Wait, you're serious?
Gloire. Gloire and Kazer! Discipline, that is what you folk lack.
My boots got sand aplenty in them.
Us or them, no other way.
Wise choice.
As ordered.
God's blast it. I've pressed my chase.
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
In retreat! Catch!
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Tell me you jest.
I smell a leak.
What do you want of me?
You mad? Don't say that!
Very gloire! Gloire! We got a job to do. Alba! Cork it. Very gloire!
If anyone asks, you've not seen me.
The Grace, all that was but their rear guard.
The Lyrians managed to scatter the Nilfgaardian battalion, one of many besieging Aldersburg. Their scouts brought before the Queen a prisoner freed from the invaders. Niamh inquired about the situation in the city.
Turn the right slaughterhouse in us. The Imperials, they... King had the city cleared, my lady, but didn't budge himself. Holding out with his guard in Old Town, walls still standing there. Said he'd fight to the end. Come what may.
Niamh weighed her options. The situation looked dire. Demavend, to whom she had come for help, needed help himself. Nilfgaard enjoyed an overwhelming advantage. The small Lyrian detachment stood no chance of breaking the siege. But to retreat, surrender, that was not something Niamh did.
The Nilfgaardians do not expect a relief force. Rayla, you know Aldersburg. Can you lead us by side streets to the Old Town, that we may avoid the largest part of the Nilfgaardian army?
The warrior nodded, and without waiting for any further orders, strode out in front of the party. Reynard followed her with his gaze, clearly troubled.
And what then, Your Majesty? We burst into the lion's den and...
And we pray the lion chokes. Follow me!
The walls crushed and breached. The lower town in flames. Hundreds, thousands wounded. Thousands more fled. King Demavend will fight to the end. He'll save the city or die with it. Turn back. Turn back while you've the strength to run, while you have your life. Aldersburg falls. Aldersburg is lost. King Demavend will fight to the end. He'll save the city. You've twice shown us mercy, Millie. May little A bless you twice over just the same.
Coming across a small brook, Meve ordered her soldiers to replenish their water supplies. When they returned, it was with empty water skins and troubled expressions.
Milady, the water tastes of blood. Not like black pudding, mind, but rancid, filthy.
Meve had no choice but to march on. She gulped dryly and wondered how to interpret this strange event. An omen, perhaps? A warning from the gods? She soon learned the truth. Following the brook upstream, the Lyrians arrived at a small pool. Bobbing on its surface were dozens of corpses. A young woman caught Meve's gaze, her long hair spread delicately atop the water, wide-open eyes reflecting the sky, a fine nose peppered with freckles, and a gaping wound slashed across her throat.
We shall stop here,
the Queen said calmly,
and give these souls a proper burial. Reynard, send scouts. Tell them they are not to return until they ascertain what has happened here.
When the scouts returned a while later, they brought with them a barefooted peasant they'd found hiding in the woods. They claimed he hailed from Horton, a nearby village, the village whose inhabitants had been murdered.
Them black-clad wretches stormed the village, milady. The devil free gave after 4. Rounded us right up, took us down to the lake. Whole village, mind. Then chop, chop, and splosh, splosh. 'Twas I alone gave him the slip.
Meve listened to the man's tale, then placed him in the care of her medics and ordered the Lyrians to break camp. She rode at the head of their column, Reynard at her side, her knuckles gripped white on the reins.
Do we know where this Frigef is stationed?
Our riders report he's pitched camp to the east.
Then let's pay him a call.
They killed all, like Rosberg. My lady, please, make them pay. Milka, Bezrad, Kristan, all killed. Souls snuffed out to the very last. Could have run for help, I know. But I was afeard. Afeard the blackclads had catch wind of me, hear me.
The Lyrians had no trouble finding Vrigev's camp. It was the size of a sprawling town. Meve stopped her caravan and called for a council. The first to speak was Reynard.
Seems our scouts were both right and wrong, Your Grace. They did pinpoint General Frigef, the Butcher of Horton. Unfortunately, they underestimated his detachment. It is much larger and better armed than our own.
That changes nothing.
Meve said, forestalling all protest.
If I leave him unpunished, without so much as an attempt, I shall never be able to face my reflection again. We must attack.
Reynard bowed and passed the order to the Lyrians. Later that same day, Meve and Vrigev's forces stood face to face on the field of battle.
Frigef! It's time you pay for your crimes!
You'll never take me alive!
You deserve to die!
There! Frigga! I see him! We've got to catch him! Wait, you're serious?
Wise choice.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Order!
Horsens.
Get it to work.
Make love, not war.
Company! Forward march!
This could hurt.
Life is mine now.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
When will you ever learn?
Hellcatzer! We got a job to do.
God's blast it! My breastplate chafes.
The Lyrians won the day, despite their foes' distinct advantage. Historians later ascribed Maeve's victory to her light troops' superior maneuverability in the difficult terrain compared to the plate-clad Nilfgaardians. But if you ask me, that wasn't it at all. A storm of fury had been quietly gathering in the Lyrians' hearts, a squall of rage stoked by the Nilfgaardians' unparalleled cruelty towards the conquered. And no one embodied this barbarism more perfectly than General Frigga. Maeve's men were ready to sacrifice anything to see him punished. They dragged the defeated general before Maeve. The Queen wished to learn why he'd ordered the execution of an entire village, how the Nilfgaardians could possibly justify such a crime.
2 weeks prior, I'd sent a detachment to Horton to procure feed. Captain Gaynor commanded it. While he was verifying their grain stores, they barricaded him in the barn and put it to flame.
The Queen listened to the general's story, her face a mask, betraying nothing.
Murdered. One man was murdered.
Frigga raised his eyes to Maeve's. The Queen was surprised to see them wet with tears.
Yes, my lady. My son.
The general's simple words bore pain, grief, and a thirst for revenge that would never be slaked. The Queen had to decide what to do with Frigga. No doubt the general had earned punishment, the harshest possible at that. Yet, such a weighty personage could fetch a hefty ransom, and Maeve's army desperately needed the gold.
In captivity, their arms should not be taken from them. Their guards should greet them in salute.
The Queen said.
But you, Frigga, you are no general. Merely a cutthroat dressed as one. You shall die like the good folk of Horton. Quickly. Summarily.
Frigga received the Queen's decision with sang-froid. He neither struggled nor begged for mercy. He simply laid his head on the trunk. A short moment later, it rolled onto the ground to the Lyrians' deafening applause.
What now? Whatever will I do? Alone? Left all alone? Milady, buried our valuables for the Blackclads came. In the wood, near a big boulder. Got a bit of charcoal? I can sketch the way for you. What now? Whatever will I do? Alone? Left all alone?